Welcome, my name's Gabriel. This is another session on how to self-publish books on Amazon KDP. This is a series of videos where it's just kind of an over-the-shoulder. I'm in the process of publishing books on Amazon. I just published an ebook of The Comet, a classic black science fiction story of the apocalypse by W.E.B. Du Bois. Here's the posting that's live on Amazon. I'm going to do some work this morning on making what they call A+ content on the website. It's kind of a marketing thing to flesh it out a little bit. I'm also going to work on the next book, which is In Our Time by Ernest Hemingway. This is a book I've been working on for a while and is almost ready to go. Also The Comet, I don't have the paperback yet, but I have what's called a reader's copy coming in the mail to give it a final proofreading to make sure that's all good to go. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you that this series is over the shoulder. We're just going to jump in and look at what I'm doing right now. So first, what I have is I'm going to work on what's called A+ content for The Comet. Right now, I don't have any A+ content. To give you an example of what A+ content is, we can go to this other book, Drenched in Light by Zora Neale Hurston. This is a book that I've previously published. And you can see here on the web page from the publisher right here on the posting, and it has a list of other books. It also has some images and some stuff about Zora Neale Hurston. So it's just a little bit more information to kind of flesh out the sales page. And I'm going to work on that for this book. So to do that, I go into my Amazon KDP. Let's see, up at the top, I go under Marketing. And then A+ content right here. Okay, so I'm in the Content Manager. Here's some of the titles that I've made the A+ content for. So I need to do a new one. So I got to go back here. Okay. Okay, so now that I have A+ content for, I believe you have to do separate content for both the ebook and the paperback. So I'm going to name this ebook. And one of the things here you can do is let's see. There's this standard image with dark text overlay or light text overlay. So I'm going to do a couple images, and then I'll do something with the author, and then I'll do the comparison books. So for this one, I'll do here, I'm going to add a background image. I have to upload an image. Now, one of the issues is this image doesn't fully fit. So I was going to see if I could make it fit, but it's not going to fit. So here's the problem. I'm going to have to make some adjustments so it fits in the way I want it to. So there's a couple ways to do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into GIMP. And one of the kind of a shortcut to do this a little faster is I'm going to use a different A+ content material that I've done previously. For Qual and the Shadow Kingdom. This is one of the more recent books I've done. So here's an image that was formatted to the size I need. So I'm going to open this with GIMP. I believed I made this in Canva, which is fast, and I do use the free version of Canva sometimes. However, because I want this to have transparency in it, this image I'm working on for the comet, I think GIMP is going to be better. So when it's super speed and easy to do, I'll use Canva, but in this case, if I need to do something a little bit more technical, I'll go to GIMP. GIMP is a program I'm decent in. I'm not an expert, but it's very similar to tools like Photoshop, and I've used a lot of different image manipulation tools over the years. My philosophy, I'm mostly focused on free open source software whenever possible, or convenient programs with free plans, because in publishing books, I'm trying to do this professionally as a business, and a lot of the beautiful thing about book publishing on Amazon is that you can do it using free tools. And not only that, is you can use these free tools and you can sell your product on one of the best online marketplaces that exists, Amazon. So it's pretty amazing, and that's what's so great about this opportunity. Now there's a lot of competition and a lot of work, and I'm not saying it's easy, but it really is remarkable that you can use free tools Okay, so to give you an idea of what we just did is I took this image. This is an illustration that I made in Blender grease pencil, and I put it onto the size that I wanted, and I've in order to upload on Amazon KDP. So let's see how this works. I'm going to save this. We'll save this, and file organization is an important part of this process. I'm not the best at it, but I am trying to improve, and that's part of what these videos is for, is to kind of share with you my systems and the processes that I use, and kind of create a conversation going, and this will help me get the discipline to work in systems that are going to continually grow and improve. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating an A+ folder within my Comet folder. think that worked. Now I'm going to export. So I saved, what I've saved is the project file. Now I'm going to export it as a PNG. I don't think that worked, but I'll go back in and save it after the fact. And if this works, I'll do this with the other ones. So the difference for those who aren't familiar with working with images and media manipulation, the difference between a PNG and a JPEG, which is another file type, is a JPEG, anything in the background will appear as white, whereas with a PNG, you can preserve transparency. And for the A+ content, I want to try first having it transparent, so then if the background on the Amazon posting is something like you know, a gray or off-white, it'll be preserved. So right now I'm just doing the kind of routine stuff of creating file structures. I need to close this in order to move it. Okay, so now I have a folder in the comment folder for A+ content. So let's go back to Amazon KDP in here where I'm creating this module. So add a background image. Remember, I uploaded this image, but it didn't fit. So now I'm going to try it again. Go to the folder I just created, and let's see how this fits. Okay, I think that looks good. Now I could put a headline here. Let's try it. So one thing that in developing this A+ content, it is something that I can go in and refine and improve, and I don't want to be careless with. But at the same time, I want to get something up there now and then come back in a process of continual improvement. So what I'm doing is I have the image, and now I have the option to put some text over it. So there's certain key things. So for example, I could do A Visionary Tale by W.E.B. Du Bois. Another thing that I want to emphasize is that this is a short read. This was a short story, and I want to make sure that anyone that's interested in getting this version, I put a lot of work and effort to kind of package it and present it in a way that's nice and high quality, but it is a short read. And some people, if they don't know in advance that what they're getting is a short read, they might be disappointed. And I've seen that in reviews for other short reads. So let's try this. We'll use this text exactly and see how that looks. Now we preview it. Ooh, so that looks good. I like that, because the text is underneath. Let's go back into here. Now, one thing I love about this particular book, so that I think doesn't work as good as just having a short read ebook. Yeah, that I like better. And now see on the desktop you can see that it does so okay, so this is what this is what it looks like mobile, which is pretty nice. On desktop, you know, I'm thinking it could be a little better. So what if I move the image over to one side so then the text stands alone? It's not bad the way it is now, but this is also a time to practice and improve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into GIMP. I'm going to move it over, and then maybe I can do a thing where the images move back and forth. Now I don't want to get too fancy. It doesn't look horrible. It's better than what was there before, but this is something to try. And we'll see how it goes. Okay. So in order to preserve this, make this super simple, I'm back in GIMP. I'm going to duplicate this layer, hide the layer that was there before. I'll select this to move it. To one side like that. Now I will this is a variant 1B. And what I can do is I can just see if this looks better. I have a feeling that it looks better. I'm hopeful that it looks better. Maybe that didn't go over all the way. Let's see how this looks. I don't know why it didn't go all the way to the edge. Now we go to preview. So there on desktop, so again what we have is the two comparisons. We have a short read of Afrofuturist sci-fi from the greatest minds of the 20th century. I might keep it on the center, even though this looks really good on desktop. But when we go to mobile, I like the top one better. And there's a question, do people shop more on their phone or on the desktop? You know, I personally like to shop desktop, but I do think that you don't want to ignore the people that are shopping on their phone. And I think that this looks good enough, and it doesn't look bad. It looks like it can be somewhat intentional. So even though I like the desktop version of the bottom option better, I really dislike it in mobile where it's offset. Something feels off about it. So I'm just going to go with the top one. But I'm glad I went through that exercise. I'm just going to remove this module. I don't like it. So now that I've figured out I want to do this, I'm going to go into GIMP and make 2 more. And to do that, I'm just going to keep it all in the same project. Now, the purpose of these videos is over the shoulder, showing you what the work is like, real time, how to do this stuff. There's some channels, in particular there's a channel called Blended Planet I really like that does this kind of work where they make, you know, that guy, I think his name is David, he does you know, animation in Blender to make a cartoon, like a real cartoon, and he does all of it. You know, he draws it, he animates it, he does the voiceover work, and I really like watching his videos. He has these really long live stream videos, and I really have enjoyed watching him. I've been watching him for several years, so he kind of inspired me to do a similar thing, but with publishing books. Now, I don't know if other people enjoy just kind of watching someone do this computer work, and you know, I don't know if I'm able to be as you know, to be able to do the work and talk about it at the same time in a way that's as compelling and as interesting as some of these other channels I'm referring to. So maybe I should, you know, make the videos into smaller snippets. And by that I mean this video here could be about me doing A+ content, but then when I jump over into working on the cover for the other book I'm working on, for example, you know, maybe I make that a separate video, when in reality it's me sitting at the computer in one session just going through this stuff. So I'll see, you know, this might end up getting split into a couple different videos, but for now I really want to stick with the idea of not overly complicating it. These videos here are going to be me showing you the work I'm doing, showing you my approach to it, how I you know, approach different challenges that I encounter. This is a very, very common challenge that I just am working through right now as we're talking, which is you have an image and it's not formatted exactly the way you need it for the particular purpose. You know, I have the image now. Now this image, I had a very specific size and formatting for the paperback, for the ebook. Sometimes it's 2 separate sets of images. Sometimes the same image will work. But now I have that work done and published, and those are the what I call the master copies, the final primary pieces. But now, in order to use those same images in something like the A+ comment, the A+ content to promote the book, then it needs to be reformatted. Similar, if I was going to, you know, do social media like an Instagram or something, I would probably have to resize the image. So this is the kind of work that's involved in publishing a work, and you know, it is quite a bit of work. Getting a book published and out there in a paperback format or an ebook format is just the beginning, because then in order to do the marketing, there's a lot of other work and considerations and details that you have to think about. All right, so let's. So now we have 1, 2, so. Let me see. Make it bold. I think I'm gonna just do the 2, and then I'm gonna add a comparison chart. Now this is one of the strongest thing, having a couple images in there is helpful for A+ content. I think it fleshes it out and looks nice. But the comparison chart is one of the best features of A+ content, because it's providing direct links to my other books. And look at that. So I copy the ASIN, I'm in my bookshelf, and then I have Drenched in Light. And then I do this with the other books, and I can think about which books I want to link to. And I could link to either an ebook or a paperback. I like to generally do the paperbacks because those are the books I would prefer the person to buy. I make more money. On the other hand, this is an ebook itself that I'm working on, so maybe it is wiser to do an ebook. And also, the order, you can put a lot of thought into the order of the books. So I do books of different kinds, but I like to think about the placement of the books. Okay, so there's 5 of my books. Now I'm trying to remember how I did these comparison charts in some of my other books. So let's go to The Black Christ, which is a book I recently published. That's a poem by KDP. Very powerful book. Illustration, historical commentary. Let me see. Okay, so now we're starting to get into something interesting. Now, I was looking at the other A+ content I had previously made, and I noticed that I already had this banner. This is good to put on the bottom. So I'll have that right there. So that looks good. I do think I want to add one more module, and that would be this one. And I want to get something with W.E.B. Du Bois. Very impressive, incredible man, writer. There's a book he wrote called The Quest for the Silver Fleece that I would love to publish one day. It's a lot longer, and right now I'm focused on some of his short stories, but yeah, what a privilege to be able to share this work with the world. So I'm going to go in and pull some content from the About the Author. See how much of that will fit. Exceeded character. Okay, so I slightly revised the About the Author, and I'm going to move this up. I think I might even put it at the top. Let's see how this looks. So W.E.B. Du Bois. This is the mobile view. And let's click the desktop. Yeah, I'm liking this. Again, promoting my other books. Okay, this I like. So now I'm going to add what's called the ASIN for the comment, which is right here on the page. So what I've done now is I've created the A+ content. Now I have to submit it for review. I have to show which book I'm applying this for. There it is. I'm going to click Apply Content. It's applied. And now I click Review and Submit. All right, there we go. So we have accomplished something this morning. Again, I'm going to want to go back. I'm going to see how helpful this is. I need to apply some A-plus content to some of my earlier books. There's a lot of other things I can do to improve and promote the books that I already have published. This is my 12th. I have the 13th almost ready to go. But right now, this is progress. It's not perfection, but it's progress. I have it up there. I'm going to go back and improve it. Now, there's different types of promotion I need to do to improve and promote this book. This is kind of what I would call the back-end promotion work, where I'm tweaking and revising and improving the posting on Amazon itself. That's separate from, having like an advertisement or something like that out there for the work. But this is a good step. We were talking previously about, do I want to make this one long video or break it into a series of videos? I do think after where I am right now, I'm going to stop this video now, and then I'm going to keep working. I'll start another video very soon where I have another project. It's called In Our Time by Ernest Hemingway, and I'm working on an illustration for the author of Ernest Hemingway, and then working on getting the paperback ready to go. But I want to do that in a separate video. In the future, you can let me know if you think having the videos all together or having them separated out by kind of content, or for example, this is the video on making A+ content for the Comet, for example, and then the next video will be doing cover illustration. But for ideally, I'd like to just have them be long videos to kind of show what it's like and how it's interesting to hop around in different types of work. But for this video, I'm going to end it here. Again, my name is Gabriel. This is an ongoing series of how to publish books on Amazon. In future videos, I'll show you how I find the books that I decide to publish. When I say find, I do write original books as well. However, one of the primary things I like to do on Amazon is find work in the public domain. These are books, classic books, rare gems, I like to call them, where maybe the name W.E.B. Du Bois, for example, is a name that is well known. People have heard of it, but do they know that he wrote a post-apocalyptic sci-fi, what I would call an Afrofuturistic work in 1920 called The Comet? And that's kind of what I like to do, is I like to research and dig and find these rare gems, polish them up, and put them out there for new generations to read and discover and enjoy. So anyway, my name's Gabriel. More to come.